Good afternoon. Many of you probably think that money management applications are more trouble than they actually worth. And despite the fact that there are hundreds of them out there, they actually disappointed customers and not many of them use it. And that is true, you're 100% right. Most of these old-style money management tools have actually disappointed not just customers, but banks as well. And they left many people without any means or motivations to manage their finances. Now, one of the cool things we're doing at Finshape is that we set out to change this. And we believe that the time is right for this, because think of the pandemic, a war, unfortunately, this year, and rising inflation. So now is the right time to focus on this. Josef, would you mind pulling up your banking app and show these nice people what we brought here today?
Sure thing, Tomasz. So let's have a look at my app. Yeah, thank you. I just received a notification that I have a new money story for me up to view. What is this? Yeah, it's an unusual big spending I made at IKEA.
Yeah, I can tell you, you don't need complex data analytics to figure out that that's your new furniture, right?
Yes, pretty much. And yeah, my bank's telling me that I can pay for this in 3 installments, break it down. Oh, that's interesting. And I know which are the other merchants I spent quite a lot of money with. Yeah. And I remember this one. I just recently made a trip, and this is where I spend the most.
This actually looks very good and easy to understand. And dare I say, with the money stories, maybe it's a bit of fun in a banking app?
Actually, I don't always have the time and energy to keep track of my finances. And it is nice to have someone to do this automatically for me and alert me if something's off.
Yeah, honestly, I tried using these applications, and I understand what you mean. I got pretty much bored with it, and it was very complex to see. But this is something I would use, and certainly more useful than endlessly scrolling through Instagram, right?
It is fun. It actually makes me to pull up my banking app several times a week. Plus, I'm just more conscious of my finances now. But let me just go back to that installment offer for that IKEA spending.
Let's just leave Josef to sort out his new furniture. In the meantime, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Thomas. I've got Gellert and Josef on stage here, and we work for a company called Finshape that is set out to shape the future of digital banking.
And what we brought you here today is our latest solution, what we call Money Stories. Money Stories is inspired by the stories you see on social media. It provides customers 5 to 10 second snapshots of their financial lives, including key events and alerts. These stories are swipeable, easy to digest, and let customers to keep track of their finances with minimal effort. And also, banks can add these money stories at the top part of the screen, which we call the story bar.
That's right, and I love the story bars. So essentially, it's a continuous feed of daily, weekly, monthly, or even yearly stories. Now, let me explain the 3 important goals which we had in mind when we designed the application. One of them, the first, of course, is to help customers better understand their finances, but more importantly, do it in a fun way and in a way that they develop a habit of doing it. Second is, of course, to provide financial insights based on data-driven prediction, but do it effortlessly. And then third, empower the banks, you guys, to position banking products in a way that is contextual and maybe more appealing to customers than a traditional banner advertisement. Now, if we go back to one of the stories you've seen here, you've all seen these top 5 categories, right? Notice that there isn't an immediate call to action. We don't want to overload customers with something they need to do. There isn't even a rainbow-colored pie charts, which are so sometimes notoriously hard to understand. It's a simple, refreshing story with 5 seconds of attention needed. But let me show you this next one. It's a grocery shopping habits of customers, which enables people to budget for their groceries. Again, think of rising prices because of inflation. Very useful. Yet another example is how we personalize and curate the content of these stories to individuals. And this one is only shown to customers with multiple sources of income. Again, I think it's quite easy and nice to understand. And finally, just one more thing, and I'm still within 25 seconds, to show customers how much they have left to pay until the end of the month, the recurring monthly expenses, showing it very nicely in a few seconds. And I think, simplicity is key here, right?
No, I agree with you, Thomas. I'm usually looking at this one, which shows me how my usual spendings over a month compare to my current spendings, and maybe the inflation will change this a little bit. But now let's close this one, and on the top story bar, let's tap for more. Here I can go back and view my previous stories. But money management is only half of the story. Our carbon footprint insights help customers to understand how their spending impact the environment. And my CO2 emissions in kilograms, now it's translated to something easier to understand, so like from one city to another. I usually look at, on the next one, I usually look at how my carbon emissions compares to others, to my peers, to national averages. And also, if I really want to cut back and be conscious about this, which are the biggest spending categories that are driving my carbon emissions the most? And the last one, which is my favorite, is like how many actual trees are needed to be planted to offset my emissions in January. So these were just a few examples how money stories can create value for customers. The best part, it's a pre-built cloud-based SaaS tool which banks can add to their existing mobile banking apps in just a matter of weeks. So ladies and gentlemen, it is time to move on from old-school PFM tools and let customers to have fun with money stories. If you want to try the app and talk to us, please do come to our booth. Thank you.
Thank you.